Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Command Wolf Gaming. I'm CWG, and welcome to my channel, and more specifically, my vlog. Sorry if I look a little bit disheveled. I had a very long day today, and it wasn't a good day to speak of. So I got some good news, bad news, and worse news. And this is in regards to my grandmother specifically. Um, Let me start over. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Command Wolf Gaming. I'm CWG, and welcome to my channel. Now, I would like to apologize for the state I look in right now. I had a very long day, and it's only gonna get longer. Um, or yeah. Um, this is my vlog. And if you guys haven't been following my vlog, in last week's vlog, I was actually talking about my grandmother, who went into the hospital due to an issue with her stomach. And they gave us three options, and we chose the one option which uh, hello, everyone. Welcome back to Command Wolf Gaming. I'm CWG, and welcome to my channel, or more specifically, my vlog. I do apologize for my slightly disheveled look. I had a very long day today, and it's probably going to be a very, not only long day, but long week, or long next week. Or it's it's just, let me just kind of roll with this. So, if you guys have been following me on my vlog, you already kind of know the state of affairs with my grandmother, right? But for those who haven't been following or just tuned in, um, so my grandmother, who's 89 years old, had to go to the hospital, and so we're at this point we're gonna give you a backstory here. So she had to go to the hospital, and they ran a battery test because she wasn't acting right, right? And they found her stomach to be flipped and like shoved up into her chest cavity behind her heart. So it was just kind of like twisted and like stuck up there. So they gave us three options to do. One of the options was surgery, which her being 89 years old um, you know, could make her die on the operating table. Option two was to just leave it alone, which ensures that she had a painful death, because if it twisted any more, it could have prevented her from getting nutrients in her body and end up making her kind of like throw up and basically killing her like that. And option three wasn't really an option until the guy really thought about it, right? Was an endoscopy. And basically, they were saying that some people are good with the endoscopes, that they could untwist or unflip and or just kind of like generally move things around while they're in the body, right? And they were saying we're gonna call around and see if anybody can think they can untwist the stomach. This was last Wednesday, right? So and this was last Tuesday. So those were the three options, and we gave them option three. So here's an update to what's going on with my grandmother. So I got good news, bad news, and then worse news. Good news is that as far as they can tell, it was successful. Bad news is, well, I guess would be two pieces of bad news than worse news. Um, Bad news is that they said that um, it might unflip again, and they weren't sure um, if it would actually stick. They couldn't actually like push it down. That's actually part of this bad news. They couldn't actually push it down. They managed to untwist it or unflip it, but they couldn't get it pushed down again. So if they couldn't pin it in place to prevent it from doing that. So that's kind of so that was that. And they basically said, look, it might twist again. So, and like a screw or a nail or like anything else, you can only use it so much or only do it so much until you kind of wear everything out. So they said the only other option, if you really want to kind of make sure that everything is fine, is doing option one. But they really don't recommend that because obviously 89 years old and she could pass away on the operating table. So that's where we were at State of Affairs a Wednesday afternoon last week. I know it's taken me a while to update this, but a lot's been going on. A lot has been going on. So they were trying to give us options. They were trying to give us options to do, and one of the option that they told us, pretty much pushing on us, was to do hospice. Now I'm actually going to put the hospital on blast here. It's St. Joe's in Wayne, New Jersey. They were treating my grandmother like pretty much garbage. From what I can tell, from me being there for the couple times I did go there, and also from the stories I was hearing from my mother, they were basically disregarding all the old people in their care. At one point, my grandmother had her IV machine. I guess it's a machine. I don't know what it is exactly, but it was beeping. It was beeping consistently, and my mom's went to the nurse and she said the IV machine's beeping. And she's like, I don't know what it does. It have to be plugged in because it's been beeping for a while. And the nurse said she doesn't need the medicine from that or the nutrients from that anymore. So don't worry about that. We'll come and turn it off. And they never did. And from what I can understand, it was like 45 minutes. Right. And 45 minutes for the initial like beeping until my mom got up and like looked for a nurse and told them that. Then the nurse never came. It was like another 20 minutes. And then my mom's like, well, I can't disconnect this because like between me and you, I wouldn't disconnect any cable in a hospital either. So I would just, deal with it, or like I would get a nurse or something like that. And that's what my mom did. She basically got up again and ran over to the nurse's desk and told them, look, my mother's machine has been beeping for 45 minutes. I told the nurse. She didn't do anything. And then 20 minutes later, it's still beeping. And it wasn't until after that, right, that they actually came back in and disconnected the machine. Because apparently she didn't need those nutrients anymore. Potassium, I think it was. It was just like, are you fucking shitting me? Like, these are people in your care. And you're just like, all right, yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. Now, I understand that maybe some hospitals or a majority of the hospitals do have some staffing shortage and everybody's working a lot more than usual. And okay, I understand where people are coming from that. There is a lot of staffing shortages from what I heard in regards to the hospitals, especially during COVID. Oh my God, that was like all over the news. But anyway, this place had like registered nurses, and I don't know what the other I guess there was like 2 or 3 different types of nurses there, but they all had like different jobs. But so I'm getting a little bit off topic here. But still, like over an hour, and you couldn't come in real quick and just disconnect it. Like, you're on that floor. how hard is like just walk over there and make sure you're pulling the right plug. Like again, we shouldn't be doing it. Me personally, I wouldn't do it. I don't recommend anybody else doing it other than a doctor or a nurse, uh, because they know which plugs to pull. So that's all I say. Now another thing they were doing, they basically were disregarding her in regards to everything, like getting medication, getting her up to use the bathroom, washing her, moving her on the bed. Like, if my mother wasn't there, my grandmother would have never moved on her bed, or even my aunt or uncle. They would never have. They're just, okay, that's fine. Everything, every time they came in, oh, she's sleeping. And they would write it up on a whiteboard. Sleeping. It's your job to make sure that this stuff is getting done. Even cleaning. Um, my mom said that she smelled the one day, and she thinks that they never actually washed her the one day. Can you believe that? And then at one point, they actually, I guess it's the same day, like a different day, they brought in the water to wash her. Then they fucking walked away because apparently they needed two nurses. By the time they got back, the water was cold. So my grandmother had to suffer through a cold, not even a bath or anything. It was a cold wipe down. Can you imagine that? And then, like, the last time I saw her in the hospital, my aunt was there taking care of her, right? Um, she went to sit her up to try to get her to eat, right? First of all, she was dead asleep. She was sleeping a lot in the hospital. I do understand that, and but like my grandmother had bed sores because the nurses never moved her, so it was hard for her to sit up in order for her to eat because she she was sore all over. Then my mom, she was there when the PT person came in, the instructor, and they were so wishy washy about kind of giving her instructions and waking her up. My mom physically woke my grandmother up and had to give the instructions that the PT person was given to my grandmother, and then she did it. Now I know my grandmother is a stubborn person, but like me personally, that you can't have a wishy-washy attitude, especially when you're dealing with old people, right? And I understand you got to have empathy too. I understand that, but my freaking god, do a better job. Anyway, anyway, so they just did a terrible job at taking care of my grandmother, and especially the lady next door to her. So she was actually in a two room hospital room, right? Two bed hospital room. So there was somebody sitting next to her or laying next to her, another old lady, and basically the guy that was visiting her son, was experiencing the same thing. So you got to sit there and you got to think, what is wrong with this hospital? You know, they're not taking care of their patients. And guarantee, yeah, I get it. 89 years old. It's harder to take care of older people, especially with at the point they are at within their lifetime. It's just like this is why they don't do surgery. That often on a older person, because it's a higher risk of them not surviving, because the body is just cannot stand that. um and I totally understand it, but at the same time it's just like they might as well just throw her in a casket and call it a day, because that's what they were pretty much doing, allowing her to die in bed. Even at one point, my aunt was telling me she was almost like perspirating liquid, not like regular sweat, like liquid, like shit was coming out of her arms, like I don't fucking like toxins or whatever. You think they would go and try to clean it up or like try to take care of it? No, no, no. Fucking. Anyway, that was the uh, that was the bad news and the blast. Well, I guess the next part is good news, not bad news necessarily. So it's good news, bad news, good news, then worse news. So anyway, after going through all that, right? The good news is she was able to come home um, under hospice. Now, for those who don't know what hospice is, it's basically a end of life care system where basically they have nurses come in. They still help the old those people that are basically on their death beds, and they it's and honestly there was a scare. This was this past Wednesday, and there was a scare because my aunt went in, and um, my grandmother wasn't moving. She wasn't breathing. She wasn't doing anything, and we found out that they gave her heavy drugs to knock her out because she was in a bit of pain. So that was fantastic. And by the time she got home, um, she was awake. She was cognitive, or as much as she could be, and yeah, she basically was at home, and was being taken care of at home by my aunt as well as the hospice nurse. She was coming in and doing that, but and we're taking care of that. Now, this comes to today. So um, today is April 19th. This is actually my mother's birthday. And my grandmother at 1 p.m. This is actually the worst news that I could say. And in fact, I'm probably going to start crying about it. At 1 p.m. today, April 19th, Eastern Standard Time. So 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My grandmother passed. And that's so she's gone. Like I think it's a good and a bad thing. Um, hold on 1 second. Like I was saying, it's a good and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because obviously I wanted her to be around a little longer. In fact, I even made plans to actually go and see her today. And I, because my aunt was there, I was like, hey, look, I'm going to be dropping by around 4 o'clock. That's when I kind of get home from work. And, we don't have to wake her up. We don't have to do anything. I just want to see her, talk to her a little bit, even if she doesn't know I'm there. Because honestly, when I went to the hospital on Tuesday, I didn't know. I had no idea if she knew if I was there or not. Especially even on the past weekend, I went to the hospital again after the endoscopy. I don't know if she knew I was there. I'm hoping she did. So, I actually planned for it today, and it's kind of funny because I was talking to my boss, who had a family member just recently passed away, because they wanted to put her on morphine. And usually, when you go on morphine, that's pretty much euthanizing somebody, um, especially at her age. And it just came down to he was like, "Oh yeah, my mother, she was on this was it this patch, and then they switched her to morphine, and she immediately passed away. Well, not immediately. We use that in a contextual type of thing, but she passed away after being switched over to morphine. Um, and that's actually how the hospice nurse suggested that as well, to administer morphine until she's just passes away. And so Anyway, going back to what I was saying, it's bad because she did indeed pass, and obviously I'm gonna miss her. We're all missing her right now. You know, um, okay, and well, the the good thing is she's no longer in pain. That I'm just gonna say that's a good thing because she no longer has to feel the pain of her body, and she doesn't have to feel trapped. And because she couldn't move around that much anymore. She had very bad arthritis. She was on all sorts of medication. It's just she doesn't have to experience that anymore. It's gone. It she it's just done. You know, and obviously, one of the other good things is she'll see my grandfather who passed away a number of years ago. And we all loved him very much. She loved him very much, and in fact, she was very depressed about him passing away and very lonely without him. Obviously, we tried to talk to her, tried to visit her as much as possible. She wasn't that far away, so it wasn't like she was cross state or anything. But so it's a good and bad thing, I guess. Anyway, I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the channel. Uh, in regards for video content for a bit. Um, I might need a little break just to get my life back together. I'm not too sure, honestly. So, other than that, we know as of right now that it's probably going to be Tuesday or Wednesday, where we're going to have the wake one day and the burial the next day. So either start on Tuesday or start on Wednesday. Then the previous day, the next day, we'll be doing the next portion. So wake on one day and funeral on the other. So now that's going to be decided tomorrow, hopefully. And it's just crazy because I was literally telling my boss. I was telling him about the whole morphine thing, and I said, "Well, did you get this work order open for this aircraft, right? Because I work in aviation." And I said, I want to get this part on order, so just in case if anything happens next week, at least the part's already coming. It's already submitted in. And honestly, I was thinking about, I got to take care of the paperwork and stuff like that. And I sat down on my desk and I just got that phone call. And I immediately knew because I don't get phone calls during the day. Not on my personal cell, especially from family. And once I saw that was done. Oh, hold on. Gotta show you something real quick. This is actually my grandmother's dog. This is Puppy Rosalind. We are now going to be taking care of her. Aren't you a lovely football? Yes, you are. Oh, I love the football. Oh, I gotta brush your teeth. You stink. You don't know what's going on either, right? All right, I'm gonna let you down. There you go. All right. Okay. Yeah, so um yeah, as soon as I got that phone call, I knew immediately that happened. I was predicting it. I was really predicting getting the phone call while I was at work or and it was crossing my mind. I'm like, I'm just gonna get a phone call one day, and it's then I'm gonna have to leave. I told like I prepped my bosses. I basically said if I don't turn up one day or if I leave one day, without notice, it's something happened to my grandmother. And quite literally, I ran up to my boss's office. He actually stepped out real quick, and I was like, I gotta go. So and I literally just took a bunch of stuff that I thought I needed home, and I threw it into my lunchbox, and I left. And yeah, I sent them a text saying, "Hey, look, I had to go." So that's they understood. They completely understood. But yeah, by the time I got there, she was already starting to cool because that's what happens when you die. You lose your body heat because blood circulation. Sorry. Anywho, yeah. So I might do some more recordings, um, not just to cover, but to also distract myself. If I don't, um, obviously because it's this reason, maybe I'll just kind of run Engineer in the background. I got to make a lot of money in that game, so I might as well just sit there and just let the game run on my desktop while I'm stooping in my own grief, or try to study. I got a IT certification exam in May, so I could do that too. It, I'm probably just gonna need to distract myself and just not think about it. And I don't know how much of distraction it could be to sit down and record or stream or anything. So because if you guys never had like somebody die in your life before, you're gonna get flashes. And when I say flashes, you're gonna be sitting there, and then all of a sudden you're gonna a memory's gonna just crop up, and then you're gonna start crying. And yeah, that's how it's just gonna be for a bit. I'm not gonna plug anything from my channel. I'm not gonna plug anything for anything here because it's just not right. All right, I gotta go, guys. See you next time.